Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Sanji, our favorite cook, is destined to awaken the power of the Black Flames, but that will only happen when he finally confronts the consequences of his father's experiments. In other words, when he loses his emotions. And you're about to see how that plays out. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, Sanji Vinsmoke's saga is a tangle of royalty, bizarre science, and a heart that refuses to be tamed. From his very introduction, we learn he's different. A gentleman with a burning passion for cooking and for women. A kind soul in stark contrast to the brutality of his family. But that kindness, that empathy, was seen as a flaw by his father, Vinsmoke Judge, the scientific genius and king of Germa 66. Judge sought to create superhuman children, stripped of emotions, capable of becoming perfect weapons of war. Sanji was the only one to fail in that process, keeping his humanity intact thanks in part to the interference of his mother, Sora, and his own natural resilience. For years, Sanji believed he had completely escaped his father's science. He forged his own identity, building a legacy as the Straw Hat Crew's cook, with his flaming legs as his only connection to combat power. The flame of Duality, born from his own body and spirit, has always been a symbol of his passion, his protective fury, and his determination to defend his friends. It was a manifestation of his will, a power that came from within, not from forced experimentation. However, the Whole Cake Island arc gave us our first glimpse of an unsettling truth. The Germa 66 raid suit activated latent genetic abilities. Sanji was reluctant to use it, but when he finally did, he felt something different. Not just the physical boost, but a strange sensation running through his body. It was a warning, a sample of what was coming. He didn't know it yet, but the seeds of Judge's genetic modifications had merely been dormant, waiting for the right moment to bloom. And that moment arrived with both glory and horror during the chaos of Wano. Amid the intensity of the war on Onigashima, Sanji was forced to confront the harsh reality of his heritage. After wearing the raid suit again to protect his companions, he began experiencing drastic physical changes. His body became more durable, able to withstand blows that would have previously left him unconscious. His bones became as dense as steel, his skin an invisible exoskeleton, granting unbelievable durability. His speed and strength reached unprecedented levels, allowing him to fight evenly with powerful enemies like Queen, one of Kaido's calamities. Slowly, he was becoming the superhuman Judge always dreamed of. But every great power comes with a price, and for Sanji, the most terrifying cost wasn't physical, it was emotional. Along with his enhanced abilities, he realized his emotions were being suppressed. The scene where he injures himself, and instead of pain or panic, feels only a mild tingling sensation, was a punch to the gut for him and for us readers. The fear of becoming a heartless Vinsmoke, a killing machine devoid of compassion and love, haunted him. He feared losing his humanity, the very essence that makes him Sanji. The loyal cook and friend? This internal struggle is crucial. Sanji has always valued his ability to feel, to care, to protect. In many ways, he is the emotional heart of the Straw Hats, always the first to worry about the weak and to defend a woman's honor. Losing that would be like losing himself. He even went so far as to ask Zoro to kill him if he lost control, proving just how terrified he was of becoming a soulless weapon. This emotional depth, this refusal to accept his genetic destiny, is what sets him apart from his siblings, and it may be the key to an awakening even more extraordinary. Now, let's connect this to his flames. Sanji's Diable Jam is a unique ability. He spins at high speed, heating his leg until it catches fire, allowing him to deliver scorching kicks. The intensity of the flame has always seemed connected to the intensity of his emotions, his anger, his passion, his determination. It's a flame that reflects his burning soul. But what if that flame could evolve? What if, instead of being fueled by his emotions, it became something more primal, something rooted in his modified Vinsmoke lineage? The theory of black flames emerges as a fascinating and honestly chilling possibility. Imagine if losing his emotions, or rather suppressing them, isn't a weakening, but a condition necessary to unlock a different tier of his flame power. The lack of feeling could allow his now fully modified body to access an energy that was previously unreachable, perhaps because it was too raw or too dark for his empathetic nature. Black flames, similar to Sasuke and Itachi's Amaterasu in Naruto, could be a manifestation of the Vinsmoke lineage at its purest and most ruthless. Think about Amaterasu, flames that cannot be extinguished, darker than night, burning everything in their path until nothing remains. For Sanji, this could be the physical representation of the cold, lethal efficiency Judge wanted in his children. If Diable Jambe symbolizes his human passion, the Black Flames could symbolize his fully activated Vinsmoke side, a power with no emotional warmth but an overwhelming destructive intensity. It would be a flame that doesn't burn from rage, but from sheer efficiency, colder, more controlled, uncontrolled and more infernal in its heat. This transformation would be the pinnacle of Sanji's duality, the gentleman who refuses to lose his soul versus the war machine his body is becoming. If the black flames truly awaken, they wouldn't just be a new combat ability, they would be a cathartic moment for his character. The physical embodiment of his greatest fear and simultaneously a power he might need to protect his friends. The question would be, can he control that flame without being consumed by the darkness it represents? Can he wield it while keeping his essence intact, or would it turn him into what he fears most? That's the dramatic tension that would make this evolution so impactful. Sanji's modifications in Wano already placed him in a tier of power that rivals monsters of the caliber of Zoro and Luffy. The Germa durability combined with his speed and leg-based martial arts makes him an unstoppable force, but the addition of a fire-based power such as the Black Flames could push him to an entirely new level, potentially allowing him to face even greater threats, maybe even figures like the Marine Admirals. Imagine the shock of his enemies as the familiar flames of Duality give way to a dark and relentless aura that not only burns, but devours. Beyond that, the iconography of Germa 66 always carried a demonic connotation, with their suits and symbols evoking devils and shadowy figures. The very name Diable Jambe already evokes the devil. Black Flames could become the ultimate representation of that demonic or devilish heritage Judge cultivated. It would be a flame that not only burns, but perhaps holds more sinister properties, maybe even capable of nullifying or neutralizing other powers, much like Amaterasu. Sanji's internal struggle to keep his emotions is what makes him unique among the Vinsmokes. While his siblings accepted their fate as war machines, Sanji resists. And it's that resistance that could be the key not only to awakening this power, but controlling it in a way his siblings never could. They operate without conscience or empathy. Sanji, however, would bear the burden of a power that threatens to strip away his humanity. Yet he would wield it for the sake of his ideals and his friends. That would be a true triumph of his will over his genetics. One Piece's narrative excels at using characters' past to shape their futures and their powers. The Vinsmoke lineage holds enormous unexplored potential for Sanji. The Black Flames would be the climax of this journey of self-discovery and the acceptance or rejection of his heritage. He would not simply become a tool, but a warrior who masters his own nature, both human and superhuman, to protect those he loves. It is a high-stakes path, but one that fits perfectly within Sanji's complex and multifaceted development. When we consider how powers evolve in One Piece, they are often tied to an inner awakening or the surpassing of personal limits. For Sanji, this surpassing would not be merely physical, but primarily mental and emotional. Accepting or controlling the loss of emotion as a path toward a new power would be an unprecedented challenge for him. It would be a dark road, but one that could lead to one of the greatest power-ups in the series. And finally, we cannot ignore the visual impact. The contrast of Sanji, the blonde, charming gentleman, wielding flames as dark as the abyss, would be iconic. It would be a moment that solidifies his place as one of the Straw Hat's most formidable fighters. A man who, despite everything, chose his own path even when his blood tried to dictate his destiny. The image of Sanji, with a leg enveloped in black flames, delivering a devastating strike, is something One Piece fans would undoubtedly love to witness. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.